So that's this pun. So the filter's making it, all the auto filters are making everything sound intense because they're all creeping up, right? Oh, so this really starts intensifying. Reason being, so that next part is basically the same as the first part, except this sound really starts to come into full volume. Now, this is where it really picks up. If we go to this bar, what changes is I add a bass loop. That's quite aggressive. Then the auto filter only comes in once, but this random sound here, I'll loop it. That sound will introduce the filter. I'll show you what I mean. So if I loop just the first half. Did you hear that? So it went one.
Oh, so like the kick and then coming back in.
Yes, yes, and you can see visually.
Right, okay.
You can see visually. Here's the sound, and then so that's the sound there. Then the next bar, the kick comes on. You can see the filter turns off. So if we loop this. Right, so it intensifies pretty quickly after that. So in this loop, that sound introduces the kick. Everything else you hear that, like, you can hear it coming, is all the auto filters coming up to volume. That's why it sounds like a rush of blood, you know what I mean? When we get to the last bar of the introduction, it gets to a point where everything's in full volume now. That's why it sounds so intense. I got all the bass volume up, all the perk volume up. This drum loop gets added. But the main interesting sound is this one here. But it's that delay on it that gives it like a siren effect, right? And then the last 4 bars is where the vocal. I loop it as if it's same as I was showing you before, like a clap on the kick, bam, bam, bam. And then the last little detail, you'll see I've taken everything out. See the kick's empty here?
Right.
So see this loop here? All the kick, all the bass, everything is missing except for the vocal. And the vocal. So what I've done was, that's a loop, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. But this little part, because I took all the bass out, what I did was this vocal loop, if I drag the vocal here, this is the vocal. But this part transpose that part of the vocal. So it makes it sound like a random sound before it kicks in. So for example, if I loop this section here, I've just transposed it up. And that's all I did, but just for that last little part. But when you hear it all now, right? It's a sound you haven't heard before, so it works right before the drop. I'll show you. that make sense? I'll play it again.